you are very lucky because we didn't meet. You got everything? 그 50% 후그라 30% 후그라
The rhythm is back. We saw that in the test match in Bangladesh too. Swarnavali is pushing it through a little quicker.
でも
all from
ミルクを
How much? Really? Japan.
Bakit di ka ba namin sikat sa silang? Kala ko mag-iyak.
こういうとこなの綺麗。
ここで注文して
ハロー。
Nambu suburb of Kolkata, close to where he had persuaded his partners to move into a new office.
Second house, repainted black and white. The house theme is black. Porcelain artist Mr. Donald in he designed because they Australian. Yeah, they came to the like 1 o'clock midnight. The new night. This guy, he's the money guy. This is our condition.
I saw you before the
綺麗だもんね。
And can we keep our luggage?
ちょっとココナッツっぽい。
Notice the railroad on your left hand side. This railroad all way twisted to